Safety. Keep hands a minimum of 2 inches away from any turning tool. Secure all loose clothing and hair. Any strings or necklaces should be tucked into a shirt. No baggy clothing such as hoodies should be worn while working on the metal shop machines. Safety glasses should be worn at all times in the metal shop. When working in the shop, you should never yell or make startling noises that may cause the people working on the machines to jump or lose their focus. And if any equipment does not appear or sound like it is in proper working order, notify an instructor so repairs can be made or replacement parts can be ordered. To insert the chuck arbor into the mill, you will first need to rotate the chuck arbor so that the slot in the chuck arbor aligns with the key stock that is in the mill. You then reach up to the top of the machine and you can screw the spindle into the chuck arbor. First do it finger tight. Once you have it as tight as you can get it with your fingers, then use your left hand on the brake and a 9/16 inch wrench to further tighten it down. Be careful not to over tighten it, it only needs to be snug. To adjust the y-axis on the chuck arbor, which would be your drilling depth, you will use the handle on the right side of the mill. To adjust the speed of the mill, you will need to flip between high and low gear, which is on the top right hand side. To turn the mill on, you will flip the switch at the top left hand side of the mill from the 0 to the 1 position. To spin the spindle in the opposite direction, you would flip it to the 2 position. To secure a vise to the mill bed, you will need to use a T-nut and a stud on each side of the vise. Screw a stud into the T-nut and slide it into the clamping slot on the vise. Once you have the T-nuts and post properly located, you can then use a nut to tighten down and secure the vise to the mill bed. When you are drilling in a piece of sheet metal, you should always have a sacrificial board underneath the piece of sheet metal so that when you drill through the metal, you drill into the board and do not damage the drill bed. Use step blocks and step clamps. The main components that you'll work with will be T-slots that can slide through the slots on the bottom of the mill bed. We have posts that are threaded on the top and bottom. The bottom of the post can thread into the T-slots. Step clamps and step blocks work together so that you can secure parts of different thicknesses to the mill bed. You always want the step clamps to be near parallel before you tighten them down to the workpiece with a nut. Once you have your piece secured to the mill bed, you will then want to go around with a wrench and further tighten each of the nuts down to the mill bed so that when you're drilling a hole, turn the mill onto the 1 position and then ensure the drill bit is going in the proper direction. The drill bit should be going clockwise when viewed from the top, and you should be able to watch the flutes rising so that it pulls the chips away from the workpiece. When you're in low gear, that will always be to the 1 position. If you are drilling a hole between 1/2 of an inch and 1/8 of an inch, you will need to have the mill spinning at approximately 300 revolutions per minute. To adjust the speed of the mill, you first turn the mill to the 1 position so that it is turning clockwise. When we are drilling holes, you will always be in low gear. So once the mill is spinning, you will rotate the handle on the right side of the mill head so that the correct speed is on the low side of the mill. If you are drilling a hole that is larger than 1/2 of an inch, 150 revolutions per minute is more appropriate. When you are drilling a hole, you should get good, clean, continuous chips that are rising up out of the hole. Do not apply too much pressure because that will make your chips too thick and put extra stress on the machine. When you are finished with all of the holes that you need to drill, be sure to clean up the machine with a hand broom by dusting the chips into a dustpan. Never use compressed air or an air hose on the mill. This mill is equipped with a digital readout or DRO. The DRO gives us the position of the mill in both the X, Y, and Z axes. There are two ways to zero the machine. The first is by pressing the X button and then the absolute set button. You can then press the Y and once again absolute set. That will zero the Y position, and you can do the same with the Z. When you are done with the mill, be sure to put all tools back in the tool cabinet where they belong. If you are not sure where something goes, please ask somebody who's more knowledgeable or an instructor.